Cool. We are live. What's up, Gene?
Hey, how's it going, man? It's been too long.
It's too long. I
Uh,
have a mustache now, and
I
yeah, I
know, I
think
have a
you have some
beard.
stubble. Got a
Yeah,
beard going.
3 months too long.
So we're back with "You Cannot Give Up." Sorry, you cannot give up. And
Hmm.
just a disclaimer: we actually kind of recorded a video on our thoughts on 3.0 plus 1.0, but because
Hmm.
I'm a dumb guy, I didn't know that it didn't get backed up to my hard drive. So um,
Hmm.
yeah, basically, we didn't have the footage, so we couldn't post anything.
Hmm.
So,
No, we
but
didn't.
now we're going live, so that way, no matter what, it's gonna get backed up to our YouTube
Yeah.
channel. Um, and I don't expect anyone to be watching this right now because we don't have a huge audience or anything on our YouTube channel or a Twitter account or our Discord yet. But at least we can go back and say, hey, we did this and it's not going to get deleted. So, um, but yeah, okay. So Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, the conclusion to the Ava rebuild series. I believe it went live on Amazon on August 26th, I
Yes.
believe.
So long
And
ago.
yeah, and it seems like it like what's really funny is like I remember I had a date, I think, like the day after, and I was like, okay, I can stay up at midnight and watch this and be really tired the next day for my date. And then and I did that. I did that and I wasn't too
Uh-huh.
tired, but I found out that I could have just I think like people were saying that it actually went live that whole day before midnight, so I could have
Yeah.
just watched it anyway.
Yeah, I remember that. It was at 10, but I think I started watching it at 1 because my roommate was hogging the TV, so I didn't.
Oh,
I went to bed like at 4, and it was like, it was worth it though. Dead tired.
yeah.
Dead tired of this. Dead, dead tired of Honors depression. What?
And then okay, so as we know, like the last movie that came out in the series was 3.0, or I guess home video would be 3.33, and that came out 2012, was it?
Yeah, it was. God, it was like 9 years ago.
Wow. So it's been a long time since we basically got like our conclusion. Um and I think, do you remember when Ano was first teasing that he was going to finally come out with with this movie? Was it like 2019, 2018?
Well, in the documentary, it shows them like working on it. If you watch the documentary,
Yeah, I have to watch it still.
yeah, it's good because they're working on it in 2018, and I think he's openly talking about it. Some footage went to some cons in 2019, but I believe he started hyping it up 2019 for sure, the year before COVID.
Yeah, and I think they showed 15 minutes of it at Anime Expo 2019 with the hopes of it coming out like later on that year, but then it didn't. Or sorry, the year in 2020, but then something happened in 2020. I don't know, but I guess a lot of people had to stay home. Um, so we couldn't. Ano couldn't finish the film until 2021. Uh, but yeah, it was on everyone's minds for the longest time. They were releasing some stuff. They released the poster, I believe, early 2000. Well, they released one poster in 2019. They released another poster in 2020, which was the one where it shows the main cast just kind of hanging out. And I think it's like an overhead shot.
Hmm.
And are they waving? I don't remember if they're waving or
No, I
not.
don't think
They're
so.
just
They're just
standing there, right?
just standing, just chilling, being anime characters.
Yeah. And Ano revealed the tagline "Bye bye all of Evangelion."
Great
How did you
timeline.
feel when you saw that?
It felt very, very finite. It was very, very very Ano esque.
Yeah.
So I was really pleasantly happy with that. Yeah. And I kind of knew I was in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's crazy when like people who got into Ava because of the Netflix dub, um, because like I think that was probably you, right? You watched
Yes,
Ava for the first time in Netflix dub,
correct.
and little did you know that like you'd be kind of in like encapsulated in this like huge fandom that's really confusing and very polarizing and really weird and filled with people who um it's funny because they're filled with people who aren't necessarily, I guess, just anime fans. You could see a lot of people who are into Ava, but they're not really into a lot of other anime. And then there's also people who are like the diehard anime fans who are into Ava. It seems that like Ava is such a like a, I don't know, it's such a captivating experience that people, regardless of what other fandoms you're into, people just want to keep returning back to it. And it's like a meme in itself because of the meme content
Mhm.
Ava produces. So yeah, people will eventually get into Evangelion one way or another. Um, but yeah, I guess we can start talking about the film itself. So, um, okay, so I guess in the beginning, okay, I guess we could try to figure out like where everyone is at in this film. So in the beginning, we know that Mari and I believe Misato,
Mhm.
they're working together, and I think their organization, um, it's is it Wonder? Is that their organization?
Wunder.
Yeah, Wunder. Is it the
Wunder, yeah.
German Wunder? So you see, okay, so you see Mari just being a complete badass in the beginning. Do you know exactly what she's doing in that opening scene or what she's trying to do?
She was just trying to. They're trying to get the town back online on their grid, and she's just
Mhm.
giving them cover for it.
And she has that weird Ava it's like it's almost like
The
a
pink
weird
Ava.
like with it's a strapped on guns or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
And
I
she's kind
I
of doing
love
all
it.
these
Yeah.
crazy moves. And who is she fighting? Is she fighting angels at the like she's not fighting she's fighting these weird clone angels from or something.
Yeah, they're. That's not clear what those were, but yeah, it was kind of like what is that? But I think they're just supposed to be like I don't know, just kind of like these drones that the fourth impact created. I think this is a very
Yeah.
dense film. We were talking about that
Or
earlier.
I think it's near third. I think that's
Near
what they
third,
called it or
yeah, yeah, which is different than anything else we've seen.
um and so basically all of that stuff happens, and I believe she was able to retrieve some weapon that uh, people in Wonder were died trying to procure in the past. But because of that battle or that fight, Amari was able to obtain it. And then we see the main three. We see Asuka look alike, which is
Mm-hmm.
who we know as Ray,
Right.
and we see Shinji, and they're walking in some weird, like post near third impact Tokyo, and it's desolate. There's nothing around them, and they finally get a call from his name. Gosh, who is the buddy?
Toji,
Not Kensuke, the other guy,
Toji,
Toji. That's his name.
yeah.
So we see so they get a call from Toji, and I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts on when they first go to the village? I have a lot of thoughts on that particular segment of the movie.
Yeah, I thought that was a really uh, such a different, unique little. It almost felt like it was from another anime, or we're in one of those parallel. What are those like those games that they made of Evangelion, like the dating game, or this alternate universe where
Yeah,
like Animal Crossing Evangelion. They made an Animal Crossing game, but it's just such a calm. Like, well, I mean, there's some stuff going on, but it's such a different sort of thing in for Ava, and I was just really captivated by it. You know.
yeah. I think I mentioned in our Lost episode that it was kind of interesting to see all three of them getting to be like happy, or at least getting to be themselves for the first time in a long time. They didn't get to be like teenagers since they were back in school,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like what, like 7 years prior to the events of
Yeah.
this film. Um, and like you get to see, lookalike Ray, um, getting to do some work, some
Hmm.
like village work. You see Asuka kind of getting a little. She's getting a little kind of like what's it called? Well, she's warming up to Kensuke. Um, I believe that's his name. What is his first name? Is it Kaji? Not Kaji. Let's look it up.
Hmm.
Not Kensuke. Who am I? Oh, Aida. Aida. She's kind of warming up to Aida, and it's kind of implied that maybe like something is happening between them there. And then Shinji is like super super depressed, and he's not doing
Yeah,
anything.
that was a little uncomfortable to watch, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of sad seeing Asuka kind of bully
Hmm.
Shinji.
Someone pointed out that's a parallel to the scene where I think like he chokes her in the end of Evangelion, or the
uh,
weird scenario, like her like putting the food down his mouth.
yeah,
That's like a parallel to that in the way they frame it, which is interesting. And I guess she's getting some sort of payback, but um, it was also kind of uncomfortable to watch. I feel bad for Shinji.
yeah. I mean, if this is any kind of indicator as to the type of mental health that maybe Ano was experiencing when he first made Evangelion, um, everyone knows you're not supposed to bully someone into feeling better. Like
Hmm.
depression isn't something you can just tell someone to not have or to not experience. You can't bully them into feeling better, and so, um, but also like the one thing that Shinji didn't realize was that people really did love him and they were willing to like show him compassion because I believe um most people know what Shinji did, and they know that he was the one that practically caused near third impact.
Yes.
And the crazy thing is, Toji and Kensuke, they were super nice to Shinji when they first entered the village. They weren't angry at him. They showed compassion. They fed him even though they didn't have that much food. So
Hmm.
um, it was kind of interesting to see how Shinji feels like nobody loves him or nobody wants him, but it looks like everyone wants for Shinji to just be okay and
Yeah.
that they do like him. And I believe so. Toji is married to what's the class president's
Oh
name?
yeah, Asuka's friend. I forgot her name.
Yeah, so they end up getting married, and that's pretty cool. Um, and they have a family. They have a kid, and it's kind of interesting to see that because you see Asuka who has like 14-year-old body. You see Ray and well, all three of them are basically kids still, and everyone else grew up and got to be adults.
Hmm.
And it's weird because none of them even mentioned to them that like, hey, you guys look like kids still. I don't know. You would think that one of them would have said something, but no one ever mentioned that they all kind of look like kids.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned also, Gene, that like it's weird that like Kensuke and Ray, or sorry, and Asuka are like buddying up with each other, even though she's a child. She has a
Yeah.
child body of
She's,
a child.
yeah,
So that
walking
was kind of
around,
weird.
and then her outfits too are kind of weird.
Also, like the awkward nudity. Well, I guess like implied nudity that was going on. I guess it was like fan service. I
I don't know
guess.
what that was.
um, so all that stuff is going on, and then eventually, um, what's it called? Ray is slowly becoming human
Yeah.
at this time. So it's kind of like a weird like bicentennial man thing going on
Hmm.
here. What do you think about that? Like this whole Ray slowly warming up to not being just this quiet, depressing figure.
That she's like warming up. I mean, it was a good arc for her. It's taken the character after 20 almost
Yeah.
30 years into a new direction. So it's I really like Ray. Asuka's still my favorite, but I was very interested in what they were doing with Ray. So yeah, best Ray, better than Ray Skywalker.
Oh man, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool seeing Ray basically coming out of Rochelle, and she gets a name. I think Shinji calls her Ayanami finally. What's really funny is, do you remember when they're like, "Hey, we gotta get you out of those clothes and into normal people clothes"?
Yes, you were telling me that last time.
The outfit they gave her is just her regular schoolgirl
Hmm.
outfit. They just
Interesting.
happen to have it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Um, so, okay, at this point it's a little fuzzy, but like I think um Asuka and Shinji, they go to visit what is now whatever version of Nerve
Hmm.
is still around, and that's basically Gendo. And it is, I mean, is Seal like basically just like out in the open now? Like
Yeah,
Seal and Gendo
same
and
way.
Seal are basically like all, it's all melded together into whatever Nerve is now.
I think so. Yeah, they're all just kind of like it's like Spectre, I guess.
Yeah. And I think what's going on is there's something going on with, I think it's Ava Unit third. No, gosh. But basically, I think Asuka and is it Asuka and Mari have to go into their respective Ava units,
Hmm.
and they have to fight. I don't remember what's going on at this point. Do you know?
When they have to, when they're going to their AV units to, uh, not sure.
If you're watching this, don't hold it against us, because this movie is really, it's literally
It's
dense.
two and a
There's a lot of
half
stuff going
hours.
on,
Yeah,
so I can actually look it up really quick.
yeah. Look at.
But basically, yeah, they're going into the Ava units, and I think, Asuka, um, I think Asuka finally makes amends with Shinji at this point. I think like she like forgives him or something, and um, she basically says like, if I don't see you after this, bye.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, it was kind of weird, because I know that like, yeah, I mean, you do know that they are gonna see each other again because of the
Hmm.
events of the end, but like, it's just kind of like, if the events of the end didn't happen, then that would be the saddest goodbye
Yeah.
um ever.
Hmm.
Okay, so it says uh hmm, I'm going through the Ava wiki fandom right
Yeah.
now. Okay, so this is awesome. Okay. Um So it says, okay, Asuka and Mari sortie and battle their way through the swarm of Nerve Evangelions. Asuka attacks Evangelion 13 with an anti-core weapon. Oh, so yeah, at this point, yeah, I guess they're just basically trying to infiltrate Nerve, and because Gendo at this point is trying to, um, gosh, what's he trying to do at this point? Let's see. Mari meets Asuka versus do. Oh, Gendo's plan in the process as Evangelion 13 awakens and destroys Unit 2 in much the same manner as Unit 1 destroyed Unit 3. During the process, Asuka is approached by her original. So yeah, at this point, Asuka is like, um, you find out that you find out that she has a different last name. It's Shikinami now. Two, you find out that Asuka's a clone, and she's just one out of a series of other clones.
That was
And
random.
I actually
Yeah.
missed that my first viewing. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that until the second time.
So much information getting. We do
Yeah.
like a live reaction video. We're like, what? What is this?
um. Okay, so at this point, what do you think? What do you think is what was going on through your head? I mean, I guess from a critical standpoint, do you think like what do you think at this point, like what the quality of the film at this point?
It was just I really thought the quality in terms of the animation and all the rotoscoping and compositing is just
Yeah.
wild, but it's just like the plot is getting so dense, and you're just like you need like a guide to watch it almost. So it kind of like it's a testament to each viewer's understanding and kind of patience at times, but I think it is really worth the watch, or watching it multiple times to kind of like pause it and be like, oh, okay, I understand that now, because I've seen it twice. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you think I mean, do you think things like this, like there's a lot of criticism with Christopher Nolan's work, like with Inception, and what else did Nolan do? And Interstellar. Do you think movies with simple plots but complicated story and uh, I guess mechanics? I guess. Do you think that helps or hinders a film?
I think it depends. It really at times where it's just dense for the sake of denseness, it gets a little your mileage may vary, but I think with something like Interstellar, for the most part, I think is you're going on this discovery and this journey with the character. So I think it mostly works. Yeah. For Ava too, I think it's very loaded. It is all that, but it is also this guilty pleasure of mine. So I can't really knock it too much.
Yeah, I mean it is anime, and anime is known for being wild and liberal with their use of like different themes and I guess mixed genres. At this point, in the series, we're already dealing with sort of a time travel because Shinji wakes up 7 years later after the events of 2.0. Um, and then in 3.0, we're kind of just dealing with uh, we're dealing with a lot of stuff because I mean, third impact didn't exactly happen, but at this point, you're already
Mm.
like, oh, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, there's like themes of metaphysical religion and
Yeah,
like there's a lot of like Shakespearean stuff going on.
very Oedipus
Um,
complex.
what's that?
Oedipus complex,
Yeah, there's Oedipus complex and
like an Ono.
um yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. It's all kind of packed in, and I think trying to figure out Evangelion is what makes a lot of it either both frustrating and fun. And I did expect Thrice Upon a Time to kind of be that way, so I guess I wasn't like surprised or anything like that. So at this point, okay, let's see. Skip ahead a little bit. So let's skip ahead to like the where Gendo and Shinji are fighting in what's called the minus space.
Mm.
And at this point, this is where I think Ano basically is the most Ano in this film
Yes,
because
very.
he's basically doing what he was doing in episodes 25 and 26, the original series, where it's everything's happening. A lot of the stuff is either happening either in both Gendo and Shinji's head, or it's happening around them and no one else is experiencing it, or everything really is happening in real time. I guess it is technically happening in real time between Shinji and Gendo, but this is like the face off. This is what everyone wanted for Gendo and Shinji to finally talk. Um, what are your thoughts on this part of the film, Gene?
This is one of my kind of like parts of the film where I think about it a lot with in terms of the imagery, the fact that it's like two Ava unit zero, I believe, just going at each other, and the implications of that, and just how Ano is really putting all the father son stuff like
Yeah,
at the forefront. It really becomes like such a textual, and then it becomes like metatextual with like they're
Hmm.
breaking the fourth wall,
Yeah.
and it's just so wild. And it's just I think this was probably the sequence that probably held a lot of this film up, but it certainly was worth it, I would say.
Yeah, it's interesting because the movie reference at this point starts referencing Neon Genesis Evangelion, and
Yeah, they
it's like,
were. You said the title.
yeah, you did it, and it's Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV screen. Um, that's one of my favorite memes. But yeah, basically, it shows Rei and Shinji on a TV set, and it's like, um, it's almost as if they're like playing, they're aware of Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it makes you realize, holy crap, um, I guess I guess this entire series you have to have had watched Neon Genesis Evangelion for a lot of this stuff to really, I don't want to say make sense because it still doesn't make sense, but for a lot of this stuff to have any real meaning to it, because you find out that this isn't just a reboot or a reimagining, it's a complementary piece to Neon Genesis Evangelion,
Hmm.
and that's what a lot of people were really excited about. I think when after they saw it for the first time, and so I believe at this point you find out that I think Gendo and Shinji kind of like figure out that they're like basically two sides of the same coin. They're not so different. They're both stubborn. Uh, they're both single minded. You know, they realize that like, you know, people they do have the ability to be loved and also to love, but they just have to let people actually love them. And I think
Hmm.
um all this time, like Gendo was trying to bring back Yui, he really was being a really bad father to Shinji, and
He admits it.
he admits it, which is funny because uh you know at this point, uh I think when when Shang-Chi first came out, I really wanted to tweet out that Shang-Chi was basically just Evangelion, and but I wanted to not say it because I didn't want to spoil the movie.
We should have made a meme
So
of that. Yeah, put it on the
I
Discord.
actually I looked it up like recently because I rewatched Shang-Chi since it's on Disney Plus now, and a lot of people made that conclusion. They're like, wait, this is basically Ava. The entire
Well,
plot to this movie is
yeah.
just
Did you
Ava.
like Shang Chi though?
It's great. I loved it. I think it's probably my second favorite MCU film. I think my favorite is probably still like it's probably Iron Man 1.
Yeah, can't beat that. Both had the 10 rings.
Yeah.
Love the 10 rings.
um and also it was great that like they fixed the problematic part of Iron Man 3
Hmm.
in Shang-Chi. Um
With Ben Kingsley.
yeah, with Ben Kingsley. So
Hard.
that was good.
Hmm.
But anyway,
Well,
back to Ava.
yeah.
At this point, like I think uh I think at this point I think Shinji has the power, or I think both Gendo and Shinji. It's really hard to determine what's going on, but they have the power to basically reboot the world and say bye bye to all of Evangelion, meaning they can recreate in this dimension that they're in now. They can recreate reality where Ava's and Nerve and all that BS never existed, and they could
Yeah.
just live a life where there wasn't any tragedy, and they can
Hmm.
just live their normal lives.
I love that aspect that they're able to grow up. They're allowed to be kids.
Yeah.
I said this analogy for you before, but the fact that it's basically the end of Deathly Hollows Part Two, or the end of Harry Potter, they
Oh, that's
copied
right.
it. Well,
Yeah.
not copied it, but they're both on a train station. They're both
Yeah.
like older, you
They're
know.
older. They're
It's
paired
kind
up.
of
They're paired
they're
up.
paired up. It's kind of maybe Anno's just a big HP fan.
Yeah, I think what's it called? I think Ano's awesome because he's probably, we never, it's not confirmed, but I'm gonna make it canon in the "You Cannot Give Up" verse that Ano is not a turf, so he's already
Oh
cooler than J.K. Rowling.
yeah, fucking bullshit.
But uh, yeah, okay, so I guess we can get to the ending. so we can get to like kind of our final thoughts. But yeah, at this point, like you said, we see Karu, who's alive now, by the way. Karu, and he's hanging out with Ray. Like they're not paired up, but I guess you could see that they're just friends and they're smiling and having fun. You see Asuka's paired up with Kensuke. Um, and then you finally see Shinji, who is now not 14 anymore, and I believe he's seemingly, I don't know, in his late teens or early 20s, and he's wearing a suit.
Mm-hmm.
And who do we see pull up? We see Mari, and gosh, and she presses her chest against the back of Shinji's head. And Shin makes him guess who it is, and Shinji's like, "Oh, a cute girl," or something like that. And then we hear the song, "When you walk away, you don't
Mm-hmm.
hear me say
I love that.
please." I'm just kidding. It's a different Utada Hikaru song.
My last kiss.
What's
See, we
okay?
did
This is
sing. We did sing.
there we go. I did it, or I got you to do it. But it's funny that um that Ano was able to get someone who made one of the most iconic like J-pop songs in video game history to do probably is going to be one of the most iconic like J-pop songs in like anime history. Like he got Utada Hikaru to do it, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then like you see Shinji and Mari run away. They leave the train station holding hands, and it implies that Shinji was able to join the real world and to grow up
Mm-hmm.
and have fun and
I love that.
probably kiss on the lips.
You see him doing that in the first one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot.
he puts
Yeah.
her like thing, and she like like an
And
Oscar.
then the camera pans out. You get a cool drone shot of the train station, and that's the end. Um, what are your thoughts about the ending overall, Gene?
I think the ending is just such a nice ending that for Ava it's just so like compared to end of Evangelion, it's just so sweet, and it's showing the maturity of Ano. I think he's come such a long way. I feel like the voice actors and everyone have even mentioned that in the documentary. Like he seems so different.
Yeah,
Just the fact his mental health is it's just his own statement on mental health and like how he's improved. So I'm really just happy, like watching this ending. You're like, oh, that's so sweet.
yeah. I mean, I'm wondering, what do you think otaku culture in Japan and even the U.S. What are they going to take away from this movie? Because I mean, yeah, I guess Ava really is Ano's commentary on his own mental health state, but also his mental health as an otaku and also probably other otaku as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think like all those the phenomenon of hikikimori
Mm-mm.
gene? So I guess they're also called neets, not employed or currently enrolled in a training course. Neat, it's like an abbreviation. But hikikimori is a phenomenon happening in Japan for the past, it's probably going on 30 years now, but it's been more prevalent in the past 20 years. Um, Basically, there's like teenagers and young adults, even older adults, who basically cut themselves off from the rest of the world. They live in their rooms, they're at their parents' house. They surround themselves with like video games and movies or whatever hobby it is. They're not employed. They basically live off their parents, and they just spend their entire life not socializing with anyone, cut off from the rest of the world. And it's become a phenomenon over there in Japan. And because of this, a lot of things have been happening over there. Like population has been dwindling. The number of elderly is actually starting to outnumber the number of youth in Japan, because Japanese Japanese youth, or I guess the young Japanese people, are not procreating, because once they hit adulthood, they don't know how to date or anything. there's a lot of documentaries. I can recommend you some.
Sure.
And there's also a really good anime called Welcome to the NHK, which kind of deals with this. It's about a Hikikimori who basically had a really bad experience when they went to university. Because of that, they locked themselves into an apartment and have been living in there by themselves ever since. But then he meets this girl, and slowly this girl is kind of breaking him out of the shell. So it's kind of a story about love and like friendship and learning to deal with like your past and dealing with society in a healthy way. Um, but it's crazy that like Ano chose this movie to kind of like um because I guess it wasn't super apparent in End of Evangelion and also in the main series ending that Shinji just chose to Shinji chose to be okay with himself after he destroyed the entire world.
Yeah, a little too late, Shinji.
Yeah, and at least in this film, Shinji chose to basically love himself and love everyone around him, but also save the world.
Hmm.
um yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Do you think that this film is going to have any impact on otaku culture? Do you think people will look on it and actually learn something from it?
Yes, I think it gives a good message to otaku culture that there is someone out there.
Hmm.
The fact that Shinji, the probably biggest depressed anime character on the planet, is able to find some sort of solace and happiness, I think is a very, very like interesting and particularly hopeful message. And the fact that it's Ava too. I'm really happy that that was able to that they're able to do that. I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And um, I think we talked about this before. About uh, I think we talked about Shinji possibly reading as because I guess Ano doesn't really talk too much about he doesn't really touch upon too much about gender
Not really.
in this specific movie, and both of us are cis straight men, so
Right.
we can't really comment too much on this. But like, I guess it's implied that like, or we both have a theory that like Shinji might read as like non-binary because um his original character model was designed as a young female,
Mm-hmm. I know, just
but
changed it a little bit.
yeah. So I think like obviously we find out that Shinji, at the end he is straight, I guess. Um but it is interesting that like, this movie is about self-discovery and finding out what it is you really want in life and how to move forward and how to move on. And I'm hoping that like this movie also helps people figuring things out about their identity, not just gender, but maybe sexual identity or
Mm-hmm.
even just.
Well, also Ray is not Ray. They said that the Ray clone has no sex, I believe, right?
I don't even remember, but if that's
I
true,
Yeah, I remember that actually.
if Ray reads as agender, then that'll be pretty interesting. And also it makes way for a lot more interesting characters. Are you familiar with Knights of Sidonia?
No.
I believe the lore in Knights of Sidonia is that um, I could be wrong because I haven't seen it in a long time, but this anime came out I think like 2016, 2017 maybe. But everyone in this civilization, this society, um, there's a time in their lives where they actually can transition to a different gender, um, or they can remain to choose to, or they can stay as the gender they were assigned at birth. So it's pretty interesting that anime is kind of touching upon gender in a way that's pretty interesting and not like just like, and there's a lot of nuance to it. But yeah, I'm just hoping that like this movie is does help people who are trying to figure stuff out about themselves, and if there is some sort of like kind of dysmorphia that they're experiencing, that it'll help them find some sort, like you said, like a sort of solace and like um I guess, peace,
Mm-hmm.
because this movie really is about kind of like finding peace with yourself
Yeah,
and learning to
which is
accept
good.
yourself, which is what our podcast kind of is about too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so an important question we talked about before we started was, where do you think Ava can go from here? I mean, we know that it's bye bye all of Evangelion, but to be honest, like I said, Ava is like the MCU of Japan. They're making way too much money off this franchise. You can't go into a 7-Eleven without, or like any like convenience store in Japan without finding some sort of keychain or knickknack or merch that's Ava based. So, do you think that there's still room for more stories in the Ava universe?
I think that there's alternate universes that you could explore these characters in. I think there's maybe like some sort of uh, other like media that you could have it, but I think the main sort of Ava story I think is over. I
Yeah.
think yeah, there's no real there's resolution. There's nothing really to go on. I know that there's like rides and it's such a Avengers level franchise over in Japan, but I think it's kind of unless they do a prequel or something, it's kind of over. Maybe it'd be like Wizarding World Ava.
Yeah, I had a joke I made in one. No, it's not really a joke, but I think is one of our episodes. I mentioned that I wish they would do a office style comedy show about Nerve that takes place like around the same time as maybe the first couple of I guess before the events of Third Impact.
Hmm.
So it's just basically like maybe it doesn't have to be Masato and Kaji and Ritsuko. It could be like the most random people working at Nerve, and it's like a workplace comedy. Um, and it could be really funny. It's like, hey, did you make sure to check the did you make sure to check the hydraulic pressure on the unit one? What do you mean that was your job? No, it wasn't. Specifically, I know it was assigned to you last night. You were supposed to do that before you left. Yeah, I would know if I checked the hydraulic pressure in the AV unit one, and then like something happens where like the unit one's leg falls off or something during testing, and yeah, and it's just this kind of like weird hijinks, like but like office style hijinks at Nerve.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's something I would want to see because I think there's a lot of humor in a lot of the relationships happening in like the made up organizations
I think
in
so.
anime.
Yeah, it's kind of some office style stuff for sure.
Hey, we have an actual viewer. What up, Jonathan Parker?
Hello, how's it going? Thanks for joining.
Hey, thanks for joining us. What's the topic? We're talking about the last movie in the rebuild of Evangelion series. So Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time. Are you a fan of Ava, Jonathan Parker? And
As we wait.
are you already following, or did you just happen to stumble upon our stream? Oh, okay, never seen it.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. No, but I'm a nerd. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
so am I.
Gene, as someone who got into Ava recently, maybe you can try to introduce Ava to Jonathan in like a quick 2-minute pitch.
Yeah, Ava is basically a young man being drafted into this robot sort of fleet. His dad is a commander of it, and there's a lot of other lore, but basically, he's the only one that could pilot this robot, and it's about robots, but it's not. It's about anxiety. It's about mental health. It's the sort of the trauma that we take with us, and how to the resolution or the not resolution of doing it. So it's just a very weird anime. One of my favorites, I would say.
Right on. Jonathan Parker says, the only anime I loved was Akira. Rightfully so. It's probably one of the greatest feature length anime films of all time.
Very much.
He also
Good choice.
says, I liar. I'm guessing maybe I like Predator 5 News. What is Predator 5 News?
Prey. There's a prequel to Predator called Prey. So it's directed by
Oh,
Dan Trachtenberg from the Totally Rad Show.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Is that's already out or?
It's coming out. I think it's streaming and going to be streaming on Hulu or something.
Oh, right on. Wow. Is it? I know that a lot of the stuff going on post original Predator releases is very campy. Is it going to be in the same realm as?
I don't know about the tone. I like the Predator. That was good. Or Predators also was great. So yeah, it's such a weird universe where there's no consistent sort of theme or whatever. It's either really
Yeah.
campy or just too realistic. We had on our Waffle Press. Got to give it up for AVP writer William O'Donnell, who we interviewed, and he was talking about just the tone and the notes. So a lot of interesting stuff in that franchise. Hopefully Disney doesn't,
No, no,
treats it right.
not at all, Jonathan. Jonathan says sorry for intermingling. No, it's okay. Jonathan also says I'm a bit drunk and Dutch, and these kind of podcasts are the only ones that suit me. Right on.
Oh, right. Well, I'm glad to help you out.
Um, I guess like our final thoughts though on the film. Sorry if you're gonna get some spoilers here, Jonathan, but regardless of whether or not we spoil things or not, you're still gonna be confused once you eventually watch Ava. So, I think other than like my stupid like workplace nerve pitch, I think either a prequel or stuff happening in like very like short like very minute kind of like slices in the Ava timeline. I think that would be pretty cool. Um oh, I think something kind of explaining the origins of Ava and how they were able to find out how to build Avas using these cloned angels from Adam or whatever. Like it's interesting how they were able to make a uh like a basically a biosuit for this proto-human,
Yeah, it's
which you
so
find out
cool.
yeah they are kind of like proto-humans. um or maybe they can show what time was like before humanity when Avas were still prevalent. I guess that would be kind of scary. I would be freaked out if that were a thing.
A little bit. I would be same too. It's interesting because there's other countries too in the alien universe. There's America. There's all this other stuff. So yeah,
That's true. I think they mention like you know that like Oscar. We already know that Oscar's from. Is she American? I don't remember. I know she's
she's
half
German.
German.
Yeah, she's German. I'm not sure.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting. I wonder what everyone else was experiencing during this time because, you know, all these attacks are happening in Tokyo specifically, and it's fair for an anime to be Tokyo centric. I mean, just because you and I are from the West doesn't mean it has to be like apocalyptic movies don't have to be a Western centric. But it's interesting seeing a Japanese media franchise that specifically centers around the apocalypse, but specifically in Japan.
Yeah, very interesting.
Um, oh no, I am writing a novel for a company that noted Evangelion as an inspiration. So this is a good podcast for me. Oh, right on. Is there
Nice.
anything you can? Oh, okay. There... I can't say a lot about the project. I okay, awesome. Jonathan, are you a writer by trade? Is this something that you do for a living? I'd like to know. Definitely like to know more. Is there any work that we can check out that Gene and I can read? Maybe we can plug right now. Right on. Um, by trade, that's awesome. I used to be a writer by trade for a good 2 years after college. I was a journalist for 2 years, and that wasn't as fruitful as I expected, just because at the time it was the recession. Not a lot of people were hiring reporters, so I had to move into marketing. So, but I wish I could get back into something that was specifically writing prevalent. But Gene, okay, so I guess we can start wrapping things up a bit. So, do you have any final thoughts on, I guess, Oh no, I guess we can kind of talk about Ano's new projects that he's
Shin
working on.
Ultraman.
Yeah, Shin Ultraman,
So cool.
Shin Kamen Rider, which we already got a cool we got a cool teaser for, and he's also doing. I think that's it. It's those two. Jonathan, you should know that. Okay, Hideaki Anno, the creator of Evangelion, he was tasked to basically do movies for some of the biggest IPs in Japan. So, a couple years ago, he did a new movie in the Toho uh, in the Toho Godzilla line, which was Shin Godzilla or Rise of Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess
Actually, two
Japan or
Godzilla.
Toho was like, "Hey, you want to do Ultraman?" And he was like, "Okay." So we got this like weird photo of Ultraman on in the sea, just standing there, just and it's kind of creepy. Um, and then we found out that he's also tasked to do Shin Kamen Rider, which is another of Japan. Like he's like Japan's probably second biggest superhero next to Ultraman. So I want to say Kamen Rider is even bigger than Ultraman in terms
Mm-hmm.
of in Japan only. I don't know, but I don't know. What did you think about the Kamen Rider teaser, Gene? If you have seen it,
Oh no, you sent it to me. I thought it looks
yeah, yeah,
pretty neat. Just the way it looks and everything. It looks like they're still kind of using similar costumes and kind of that evoking that sort of '90s era of that those like kind of kid shows. So I thought it looked pretty rad. Then he's not really changing too much about the character's design. It's just how Anno would do it. So
yeah. It's not like he didn't try to make it all grim dark or more serious than it really is. It is like supposed to be like a kid show, so I liked it. Jonathan says, "Yeah, when you hired, you need to write beyond your niche taste, but it works well. What I have, awesome. That's good. Yeah, good for you, man. I'm glad that that's working out for you." And Jonathan says, two novels in the works. Excuse me, but before I wrote articles for Dutch philosophical magazines. Wow, you will like Evangelion then if you
a lot of
are.
philosophy there, my friend.
So there's a lot of existentialism and existentialism, metaphysical stuff going on in Ava. So you'll enjoy it. Yeah, definitely. If you what's it called? If you want, you can send us a what's it called? Direct message, or you can email us. I'll put our email right here. So I believe it's you cannot give up podcast at
And
gmail.com.
subscribe. You can.
Okay. Okay, I believe that's our email. Um what's it called? Yeah, email us your project so we can check it out. If there's anything we can check out at all right now. And I'd love to read your work. But yeah. So Gene, I think I asked you what you think about Anna's upcoming projects. What are some final thoughts you have about the movie overall? I guess if you had to this is hard to do because it's kind of a movie that I don't want to give a review or a rating to. But if you had to give 3.0 plus 1.0 like a score out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd probably give it in 8.5 or a 9. Probably give it a 9. It's just 1 point away from being perfect, but it is kind of like Anno is like magnum opus, you know.
Specifically, what are some of like what are like the top three things that you liked about it?
Just the fact, the closure of it, just the weird imagery that I probably won't get out of my head, like Hyper Ray just being animated, and just see the arcs that they gave these characters, like Shinji was able to grow, and Masato had such a good hero moment. So yeah, I was really happy with that.
Right on. In terms of score, I think I would actually give it the same as you. I'm floating somewhere between like a 8.0 to 9.0. Sorry, that's me being in Ava mode, but 8 to 9.
Yeah.
Uh, somewhere, somewhere in between there. I think if I watch a little bit more, it might affect that score. It could go lower. I don't know. But I really think, yeah, I think you're right. It is probably Anno's magnum opus. I still think maybe End of Evangelion might be closer to what I guess a magnum opus, if anything, just because I feel like even though it's all over the place, I feel like it's a little more cohesive than Thrice Upon a Time. But and I think the animation, because it's not digital, it's kind of a little more interesting um, altogether. It's like I guess it just kind of gels a little bit together for me since it's cell animation. Um, but I think there was a little bit of a some CGI assisted animation in End of Evangelion, uh, if I
Possibly.
recall.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think that's basically it. Hopefully, I can watch the documentary so I can talk to you more about that. Maybe we can do a whole episode on that sometime. We get on the supplementary material. Um, but I am glad to, hoping to get back to doing our regular episodes. That person I told you about, we can have as a guest. Um, Other than that, I guess some housekeeping.
Hmm.
I guess not really housekeeping. Some personal stuff. What's going on? Um, oh, I mean, is there anything you could talk about career-wise, Gene? That you?
Yeah, yeah. Been working at the new G4. It's been as an assistant editor. It's been really surreal. I grew up watching the network when it was Tech TV. X Play was
Mhm.
my jam when I was a kid. I always enjoyed watching that. Just loved it. And this is kind of the dream job, and I've just been really they're launching in 2 days, so it's been exciting.
That's awesome. Also, bye,
Yeah,
Jonathan. Thanks for joining us, man. Make sure to send that email, and then we'll definitely check out some of your pieces. But yeah, Gene, that's really cool. I
yeah.
too
So
grew
it's
up
been keeping me
watching.
busy.
What's that?
It's been keeping me busy, as you could see. I'm a little tired.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hopefully, I can let you go pretty soon, get some
Okay.
rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up watching G4. Specifically, remember being 14. I think right that's when it debuted. It was like the transition period um between what's it called, Tech TV, and I used to watch Tech TV religiously. Um, and then yeah, I just remember being in high school, waking up early in the morning because that's when they would show Starcade reruns, and then they would show Portal. I think Portal they
Yeah,
used
I
to
love
show
Portal.
early in the
Oh,
morning.
that's so weird.
Yeah. Uh and yeah, and then I'm excited for Attack of the Show coming back, X Play. I don't know if how much there is to talk about, or how much you can talk about, Gene. But like, are there any new shows that are going to be coming out?
That I don't think I could say.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
might know some. Yeah, I don't think I could say. I don't want to. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but I've been kind of going back and forth with the G4 social media account with the Hyperkin account.
Oh, have you?
Um,
I need to look.
yeah, I think recently, I think they tweeted a picture of Xavier Woods and the completionist. They were holding something. I don't remember what it was. I think a G4 sign or something like that. And
Yeah, they're by the sign in the office. Yeah, I think so.
yeah, and I tweeted something like "carry me." They're like, I was like, "Carry me to lunch," and they're like, "Where?" And I like said "In and Out," and like, I tweeted something about like, I think I asked Adam when we're gonna go karaoke in Little Tokyo or something, and then
Oh yeah,
the G4 account said something like, "Oh, after the launch, of course." And it's
yeah,
like,
to
okay.
celebrate.
um, I like that the account is open to banter with other
Some good
companies.
people running it. Yeah, they run it really good.
Anyway, yeah, I guess all I can say is yeah, there's as I've been working at Hyperkin for the past 7 years as their PR guy. But other than that, it looks like my band is kind of starting
Come
to
back.
come back just a bit now that we can play shows again. We might be competing in the Anime Los Angeles Battle of the Bands.
Nice.
And then I'm trying to see if we can book some shows in like maybe the LA Long Beach area. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Is there anything else anything you wanna plug, or any projects any Waffle Press stuff coming out soon?
Possibly. We might have some interviews on the horizon. Trying to. We're having a panel, me and Nick Valero, on December 3rd for LA Comic Con, so be on the lookout for that.
Right on. Cool. As you don't know, to our listeners, all 0 of them live right now. I'm just kidding. Yeah, LA Comic Con. That's happening December 3rd.
Yes, that weekend,
Uh,
December
used to
3rd,
be
first weekend.
Stan Lee's Kamikaze.
Kamikaze, Stanley's Comic Con, and so on and
Yeah.
so forth.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So I guess that's it. Hope check our social media at You Cannot Give Up on Twitter. We also have a Discord. I'm actually going to put the Discord link into the comments right now. So let me grab that really, really, really quick. Let me see. Okay. Invite, copy. Let me see. Bear with me now. Generate new link, copy. I'm going to put this in. I think this goes to the comment section. So there we go. So yeah, definitely go to our Discord account, our server. We've just been posting memes in there so far. Hopefully, we can actually get some real discussions going on. It's very small. There's like barely anyone in there. There's some of our friends, but hopefully now that things are kind of getting less busy. Well, who knows? It's holiday season, so things might get busier. We can start ramping up more episodes of You Cannot Give Up. But okay, all right. Thanks so much, Gene, and thank you, Jonathan, for joining us.
Yeah, this was fun, man. I'm
Yeah,
glad we got to make a return, and yeah, we'll see what goes on next month.
yeah. I'm glad we got to lay this down like
Yeah.
permanently. This isn't gonna
Yes.
go anywhere. So,
Thank God.
all right. Well, thanks everyone.
Bye.
Have a good holidays. Bye.